Vincent is an arrogant and reckless madman. In my previous life, to save me, he abandoned his pride and knelt down in supplication. Yet I pointed a gun at him, loaded the bullet, and shot straight through his heart. Only upon his death did I learn that the one who killed my father was actually my childhood sweetheart, whom I had always protected. Devastated, I chose to follow him in death, becoming a pair of doomed lovebirds. I suddenly opened my eyes and found myself back to the day when he forcibly took everything from me. I thought, in this life, I would love him properly. But that day, I never got to see him. In the abandoned building, I was kidnapped by Vincent's enemies. When Vincent arrived, his eyes were fierce as he pointed a gun at them. "Let her go, and I might consider leaving you all in one piece." Always arrogant, his voice was actually trembling slightly now. That guy grabbed my hair, pressing a gun against my head. "Put down the gun, or I'll shoot your woman." Vincent's hand bulged with veins as he gripped the gun tightly twice. Then he tossed it aside. Biting down on his molars, his tone gradually grew humble. "Take me instead, let her go." Boisterous laughter echoed through the abandoned building. Who would have thought the ever-arrogant Vincent would lower his head for a woman? He gripped my throat, threatening Vincent. "Here's the deal, kneel before me, and I might let her go." I thought to myself, how could such a proud man kneel for me? To my surprise, he didn't hesitate even for a second, lowering himself to his knees. My pupils dilated in shock, and I instinctively shook my head. "Don't." Just as he was about to fully kneel, he swiftly rose to his feet. Catching everyone off guard, he fought his way through and snatched me away. He wrapped his arms around my waist, pulling me close. But we were outnumbered, they quickly surrounded us. He whispered reassuringly in my ear, "Don't worry, our people will be here soon." In the next instant, a gun was pressed against his chest. "Sylvia, you." His eyes were filled with shock, but all I saw was hatred. Just then, Cashin stepped forward. "Sylvia, he's the one who killed your father. Do it. Only by avenging him can your uncle rest in peace." My hands trembled, tears welling in my eyes as I stared at Vincent. "No. Sylvia, don't listen to his lies. How could I ever kill your dad?" "Then tell me, the night before my dad died, did you ask him out for drinks?" I tried my best to remain calm. "Yes, but I..." Before I could finish, Cashin cut me off. "Enough, Vincent. You've always been a devil. Now you've left Sylvia's family in ruins. You deserve to die. Sylvia, do it now." I closed my eyes and pulled the trigger with grim determination. Bang! The bullet pierced straight through his heart. He spat out blood, clutched his chest, and smilingly raised his hand to caress my face. "To die by your hand in this life, I have no regrets. Vincent is dead." His men found me and cleared my name. They also handed me the will he had previously prepared. The CEO originally had no one or nothing he cared about in this world, until Sylvia, you appeared. He knew he could die at any moment, which is why he drew up this will. Who would have thought that the one who killed him would actually be you, Sylvia? I could see the gritted teeth and the hatred in his eyes. That day, the police came and the person they arrested was Cashin. He was the one who killed my father. Everything had been a trap he set. My eyes were empty, tears falling onto the will. "I'm sorry. The one you owe an apology to is Vincent. I donated the billions in assets he left me. It was the least I could do, to atone for what he had done before and leave behind some good. Later, I confessed my regrets at his grave and eventually followed him in death. If there's another life, I will treat him right." I suddenly opened my eyes and found myself back in the time when my parents were still alive. I come from an ordinary family. My mother was a teacher, and my father was a truck driver. My elder brother was a narcotics officer, but he died during a mission. As for me, I'm a doctor. It all happened when Vincent, injured and on the run, climbed through my window. With a blood-stained hand, he covered my mouth. "Be quiet. After the group downstairs had left, he finally let go. Then, he passed out. He was injured, severely, and needed immediate treatment to stop the bleeding. As a doctor, I couldn't just stand by and watch someone die. So I saved him. When he woke up, I was by the bed, resting my head on my hand as I dozed off. By the time I woke up again, he had already left. That was how we first met. Dad, Mom. I stepped out of the room and saw them, real and alive before my eyes. Tears welled up before I could stop them. What's wrong? Did you stay up too late and get all groggy? I shook my head and said I was hungry. My mom immediately went to the kitchen to cook noodles for me. Where's Dad? He went grocery shopping. Said he's going to the market to buy you some fresh shrimp. It feels like I've returned to that loving yet ordinary family. In this life, I will never let Cashin hurt my family again. And my brother. I checked the calendar. Today is the day Vincent forcefully pursued me in my past life. Back then, because I saved him, he fell in love with me at first sight. Every day, he dressed like a gangster, following me around with a group of lackeys, claiming he was trying to court me. I told him, Vincent, I already have someone I like, and I'm about to get married. Please let me go. Because of this statement, I saw him lose his temper for the first time. Without another word, he scooped me up, pinned me by the throat, and whispered hoarsely in my ear, break up with him and be with me. Arrogant and unreasonable. As he leaned in to kiss me, I turned my head away, so his lips brushed my cheek instead. Instead of getting angry at my rejection, he buried his face in the crook of my neck. The more you resist, the more I want you. You belong to me. Tomorrow, I'll propose to your parents. Wait for me. At that moment, I thought to myself, he's truly a madman. And today is the day he's coming to ask for my hand. Claiming it was a marriage proposal, it was actually a threat. They used my parents' jobs and Cashin's future to pressure me. In my previous life, they forcibly took me home but never touched me. He said, I'll wait until the day you willingly give yourself to me. You will fall in love with me. He was utterly confident, self-assured and arrogant. Later, I did fall for him, only for love to be replaced by hatred. I thought, in this life, I'll be the one to love him properly. I gazed out the window, longing endlessly. I wondered, if Vincent knew how eagerly I accepted his proposal, would he be overjoyed? But that day, I waited until nightfall without seeing him. I checked the date repeatedly, certain it was today. Could something unexpected have happened? If he wouldn't come to me, then I would go to him uninvited. I headed to the club Vincent frequented. In my past life, before meeting me, he had indeed been involved in many shady dealings. But after knowing me, he began turning to legitimate business, completely cleaning up his act. And this club was one he often visited while networking in high society. I remember in my past life, he would always report these visits to me. But I treated them as spam texts, not even bothering to open them. I walked straight to VIP room 888. But seeing the scene inside, I stopped. A curly-haired beauty in a sexy outfit sat on Vincent's lap, flirtingly feeding him fruit. Rumor had it Vincent never took interest in women, until I came along and broke that myth. Yet, I was the only woman ever allowed by his side. Now, here he was letting a woman sit on his lap so casually. I couldn't believe it. After all, there was once a reckless woman who tried to seduce him and climbed into his bed. Not only did he not touch her, he had her tied up and tortured mercilessly. In the end, that woman's legs were broken, leaving her permanently disabled. I pushed the door open and walked in, pulling the woman off him. Who are you? The woman glared at me displeased. I ignored her, staring straight at Vincent. Didn't you say you were coming to propose? What, going back on your word, or, scared? The crowd held their breath. After all, no one dared to speak to their revered Vincent like this. Vincent picked up the glass of wine on the table and took a large gulp. He looked back at me with that signature arrogance. I'm bored, that's all. I've thought it through, you're not indispensable to me. A disobedient woman isn't worth keeping. I don't know why his attitude changed so abruptly. But I didn't believe a single word he said. Is that so? I heard the male models at the club are quite good. I won't disturb your fun then. I had barely taken 2 steps back when his eyes turned dark and menacing. Through gritted teeth, he hissed, "How dare you?" He crushed the cup in his bare hand, the shards cutting into his palm as he let the blood flow freely. I quickly stepped forward, prying open his tightly clenched hand. "Are you out of your mind? Who would harm themselves like this?" His eyes were bloodshot, his voice hoarse. "Yes, I'm a madman. You can still leave now if you want." Ignoring his ramblings, I took his hand and carefully began removing the shards. Afraid he might be in pain, I leaned in to gently blow on the wound. The next second, he lifted me over his shoulder. "I gave you time, it was you who chose not to leave." Then, in front of everyone, he hauled me out like a sack of rice. Outside the club, he tossed me into the car. Before I could react, he cupped the back of my head and kissed me. It was like a storm, fierce and relentless. Especially when he noticed I didn't resist but instead wrapped my arms around his neck, he grew even more unrestrained, robbing my breath. Almost as if venting frustration, he nipped at my lower lip. I winced in pain and pushed against his solid chest. The kiss finally ended. His chin rested on my shoulder, his tone tinged with a hint of meekness. "Don't lie to me anymore, I really can't take it." Hearing these words, I froze for a moment. Could it be? I cupped his face and gently kissed his lips. "I won't." In my past life, my judgment was clouded by malicious people, and we never got the chance to truly love each other. In this life, I won't hurt him again. The man's eyes were unfathomable, revealing no discernible emotion. He merely leaned back wearily against the car seat and instructed the driver, "Take me back to the villa." He closed his eyes to rest, ignoring me completely. The light cast upon his face, how had I never noticed before how handsome Vincent was? Watching his tightly furrowed brow, I couldn't resist reaching out to smooth it. Suddenly, the man alertly opened his eyes and grabbed my wrist with force. "What are you doing?" My hand twitched back in pain, but he held it firmly in place. "Vincent, you're hurting me." Only then did he release my hand. I rubbed my reddened wrist, which he had caused to turn red, and glared out the car window in annoyance. I muttered under my breath, "You're so handsome, yet you won't even let people look. How stingy." The man beside me tilted his head slightly. His deep eyes flicked toward me, but he remained silent. Suddenly, the phone rang. I picked it up and saw the caller's name, Cashin. Just seeing that name made my teeth grind with irritation. I hung up the call, only to notice Vincent staring at my phone screen. Was he misunderstanding something? I cleverly slipped my arm through his, feigning coquetry. "Hubby," he was harassing me. Upon hearing that term of endearment, I could clearly sense his body tremble slightly. As if it thrilled him. But the next second, he pinned me down with a cold glare, gripping my chin. "So, tell me, shall we break his limbs or gouge out his eyes?" In Jiangqing, the only person who could utter such ruthless words was Vincent. I knew he was testing me. He no longer dealt with those dirty businesses nowadays, but if he wanted to, it wouldn't be impossible. I naturally wrapped my arms around his neck and whispered beside his ear, "Anything goes." The best outcome would be to make him suffer unbearably. Returning to Vincent's villa, I felt utterly dazed. Once, I saw this place as a cage that trapped me. But now, all I wanted was to be the lady of this house. "Brother, you're back," Cecilia trotted out, but the moment she saw me, especially when she noticed me holding Vincent's hand, her sweet smile instantly fell. "What are you doing here? Get out. You're not welcome in our home." Cecilia is Vincent's sister, born to his stepmother. After I married Vincent, she and her mother constantly opposed me at every turn. I later found out that her issue wasn't with me personally. She wanted to take my place. Because she isn't actually the biological child of Vincent's father. But that's a story for another time. Once, she drugged Vincent, hoping to force a physical relationship, become pregnant with his child, and pressure me to step aside. But she underestimated Vincent's love for me. Vincent grabbed her by the neck and threw her out of the room, then soaked himself in cold water in the bathroom. He used a blade to cut his arm to stay conscious. By the time I arrived, the bathtub was already filled with blood. The guy was smart enough not to cut his own artery. The moment he saw me, he completely lost control. Ignoring the wound on his hand, he threw me onto the bed. His tone was pleading, "Please, is that okay?" At that time, I realized he wasn't all that bad. He had done a lot of charity work in my name and even took a knife for me when I was in danger. After everything we'd been through, I had actually started to fall for him a little. When I nodded slightly, he completely lost it. The man had one hand in his pocket while the other held mine firmly. The voice was extremely intimidating. "Cecilia, this family isn't yours to speak for yet." Vincent didn't even spare her a glance, taking my hand as he led me straight upstairs. So arrogant, so domineering, I loved it. Just as we stepped into the room, the man pinned me against the door. He stared into my eyes for a long time as if searching for something in them. Finally, in a husky voice, he murmured, "Sylvia, what do you want? Say it, and I'll give it to you. There's no need for such methods." My fingertips press against his chest. Rising onto my tiptoes, I whisper softly into his ear, "I want you." The man's ears instantly flush red, but he takes a step back, putting distance between us. I watch his Adam's apple bob, as if struggling to restrain something. "Vincent, let's get our marriage certificate tomorrow." I know he feels terribly insecure. After all, the person he loves most once held a gun to his heart, a heart that still beats fiercely for her. He must hate me, deeply. Vincent has also been reborn. But I don't want him to know that I've been reborn as well. It's hard for me to face him with the identity of someone who once killed him. It's better to face him as the purest, most original Sylvia. Call me selfish if you will. I want to start over with him. A flicker of surprise flashed through the man's eyes, but he quickly regained his composure. He opened the door, his expression ice cold. "Sylvia, this is your last chance. If you don't leave now, there won't be another opportunity to escape." In my past life, there was a time when he imprisoned me. I tried 99 different escape methods, but each time he caught me and brought me back. At that time, I truly detested him to the core. How could someone be so obsessive, so insane? I took 2 steps forward. Vincent thought I was leaving, and I caught the glimpse of disappointment in his eyes. But the next second, I grabbed the door handle. I closed it and locked it. Why would I leave? Don't you want me to stay? Or do you not want me to be your wife? Vincent stood there, flustered, as if he hadn't expected me to do this. All his restraint crumbled in an instant. Without a word, he seized my slender waist and kissed me. His powerful arms enveloped me tightly, as if trying to meld me into his very bones. Our passionate entanglement tumbled us onto the bed. Desire burned in both our eyes as the man leaned down, his teeth undoing the buttons of my shirt before pressing a kiss to my collarbone. Even if I were to fall again, I'd accept it willingly. His voice trembled slightly. Just as I was about to confess my feelings, the man flipped me over. Before long, the searing pain forced tears from my eyes. His teeth grazed my earlobe lightly. "Take it from me." But later, he kissed away my tears, soothing me gently like a child. "Good girl, I'm sorry, I acted recklessly. It won't happen again." I bit his shoulder. "If you're going to bite, make it count." That was like a mosquito bite. Fine, I get it, you've got muscles." I muttered, "Don't be so rough next time." The man softly responded, "Hum. Next time, I'll take the lead. You're not allowed to move." The man raised an eyebrow. "With your current stamina?" I glared at him angrily. He conceded, "Fine, I'll help you work out and build up your endurance." I was awakened by a tingling sensation. Opening my eyes, I found Vincent gazing at me affectionately, his fingertips tracing the contours of my face. I smiled, wrapped my arms around his waist, and buried my face against his firm chest. "Why are you awake so early?" Perhaps because he had just woken up, his voice carried an intense magnetism. "Couldn't sleep. It feels unreal." Had he stayed awake all night? How deeply insecure he must be. But then again, I was to blame, I had hurt him so deeply. Not only had I shot him in the heart, but I'd also stolen his company's secrets and handed them over to Cashin. He investigated for a long time but never suspected me. He trusted me unconditionally. Even when I eventually slipped up, he still came to rescue me without hesitation, alone. He let go of all his pride and arrogance. I intertwined my fingers with his and kissed his lips deeply. "Is this real enough for you? If you still feel unsure, let's get up and go get our marriage certificate." When we finally got the certificate, Vincent couldn't put it down. After all, in the previous life, I had been forced into getting married. Even the photo on our marriage certificate was taken with Vincent forcing me to pose. I looked absolutely furious in it. And the moment I got hold of the certificate, I tore it into tiny pieces. Vincent didn't even get a proper look at it. "It's okay, just a couple of pieces of paper. After all, you're my woman now." Although he said it was fine, the anger on his face was clearly evident. Now, the marriage certificate is in his hands, carefully tucked inside the inner pocket of his suit. How did I never realize before, a devoted heart is a man's best dowry? On the way, Vincent answered a phone call. Holding my hand, he rubbed my thumb with his, then looked at me with a complex expression in his eyes. "There's a banquet tonight. Will you accompany me?" "Of course, I'm your wife now." The man couldn't suppress a smile and added, "Cashin will also be there." Hearing that name, I suddenly remembered this person. Cashin, I'll make sure he goes to hell. For what he did to my parents, and my brother in the previous life. At first, I thought my mother had died from asthma. But later, Vincent's men found out that Cashin was the one who provoked her into collapse and even took away her medicine. And my father, shot and pushed off a cliff. To think I had always protected this childhood friend of mine and trusted him so much. "You lied to me, saying Vincent was my father's killer. That bastard deserves to live in the gutter. Honey, now that I'm married to you, I'll keep my distance from other men. In this vast world, nothing matters more than my husband. Everyone else is just a passing cloud." The man chuckled helplessly. "Since when did you become so sweet-tongued?" I leaned closer. "Then taste and see if it's really sweet. The driver in the front seat might as well pretend I'm dead." Vincent accompanied me home first. After all, marriage is such a significant event that we had to meet my parents. Sitting on the sofa, Vincent clasped his knees with both hands, rubbing them nervously. The usually composed and aloof him actually showed a hint of unease. My parents looked at the pile of betrothal gifts with grim expressions. "I don't approve of this marriage." I knew it would take some time for them to come around. It really was rather abrupt. "Dad, don't be like this. He treats me really well." Vincent glanced up at me, surprised by my words. After all, his kindness toward me was nothing but forced affection. "No way. Our family is just ordinary, we can't accommodate someone like him." "Do you even know what kind of person he is?" "He's involved in the underground world, how dangerous is that?" At that moment, the man spoke up. "Dad, don't worry. I've already left that life behind. Everything I handle now is clean, legitimate business." My father stood up in anger. "Don't call me Dad. Even so, it's still not acceptable. All I want is for my daughter to live a safe and happy life. How could you not know the number of enemies you've made in the past?" The man pressed his lips together, his gaze firm. "I'll protect her. Dad, please don't be angry. I'll take responsibility for my choices. Besides, we've already registered our marriage, so you can't change that fact anymore." In the end, it was my mom who pulled my dad aside and calmed him down. After speaking privately with Vincent for a while, my dad reluctantly nodded in agreement. After dinner, Vincent took my luggage and left the house. Curious, I asked him, "What did Dad say to you earlier?" He feigned mystery. "This is a secret between real men, me and my father-in-law." TCH, as if I care. Yeah, right. Just tell me already. He opened the car door for me and nudged me inside. Really wanna know? Too bad, I'm not telling. Arriving at the banquet venue. The moment Vincent stepped out of the car, all eyes turned toward him. Bodyguards flanked both sides, but the man walked around to the other side and opened the door for a woman. Everyone present was utterly astonished, all wondering who this woman capable of making Vincent so attentive was. It's me. I confidently placed my hand in Vincent's. Firstly, to declare my sovereignty, and secondly, to show caution. Sure enough, at a bar table not far away, he tightly gripped his wine glass as if trying to crush it. In my previous life, I asked him why he did this. He said it was merely because he wanted to possess me. Only then did I realize his morbid obsession with me. Well, if it isn't my dear big brother. And this must be the missus? A seemingly carefree man suddenly appeared. The way he looked me up and down was unsettling. From what I recall, this person hadn't shown up in my past life. But then again, in my previous life, I'd hardly ever gone out socially with him, so I wasn't familiar with the people around him. Vincent tightened his grip on my hand, his expression darkening. Get lost. Then he took me away from that place and led me to the dining area. Have something to eat. There's your favorite strawberry cake. I took the cake he handed me. Still, I couldn't resist asking, who was that? Vincent's brows furrowed slightly. He's my junior brother, Raphael, a complete lunatic. Anyway, stay as far away from him as possible if you ever see him again. No wonder they're from the same school, both quite insane indeed. I nodded thoughtfully while eating the cake. Suddenly, he raised his hand, and I instinctively flinched back. The man pursed his lips slightly before lowering his hand. You've got cream at the corner of your mouth. Damn my muscle memory, in my past life, I always avoided his affection. So just now. I leaned my face closer and blinked at him. Then help me wipe it off. He hesitated for a long moment. Just as I was about to pull away, he cupped the back of my head, and actually licked the cream off my lip. My face instantly flushed crimson. What are you doing? So many people are watching. The man chuckled softly, licking his lips as if savoring something. If my wife minds, I wouldn't mind plucking their eyeballs out. I knew he was joking, but still couldn't help pouting. I don't want such a brutal husband. The man affectionately ruffled my hair. Vincent was socializing, discussing business matters throughout. But he held my hand the entire time, occasionally asking if I was bored. I'm going to the restroom. You stay and chat. He offered to accompany me, but I declined, it was just a quick bathroom trip. Unexpectedly, I ran into Cashin there. Sylvia, why are you here with him? I pulled my hand away from his grasp, somewhat disgusted. Cashin, Vincent and I are already married. Please control yourself. He looked dazed, taking 2 steps back. How could this be? You clearly hated him. I smiled gently. Now, whenever Vincent is mentioned, I can't help but feel happy. I'm so grateful heaven gave me this second chance. That was before. Now I think he's wonderful. Cashin clenched his fists, his eyes filled with disbelief. No way, absolutely no way. You should hate him. It was all because of his instigation and my excessive trust in him that I momentarily lost my reason and made a mistake. No, I love him very much. I didn't linger with him any longer and turned to leave. This kind of person is dangerous, it's best not to spend too much time with him. He's like a rabid dog, who knows when he might bite. As I walked out, I noticed Vincent standing by the door, wearing a smug expression. You heard everything? The man took my hand and nodded. Yes, I heard my wife's passionate confession, though it was in front of another man. How come I never noticed before? This man is oddly adorable. Then I'll just have to express my love more often in front of you from now on. That's fine, but I still prefer hearing your confessions in bed. This shameless scoundrel. The host of the banquet called Vincent over to discuss something. Probably mostly confidential business matters, so I released his hand. Go ahead, I'll wait here. He smoothed my hair. Call me if you need anything. I nodded to reassure him. After Vincent left, I sipped champagne in the corner. His junior Raphael uninvitedly took a seat beside me. Cheers, sister-in-law. Congrats to my dear senior for finding such a well-preserved woman. My face instantly soured. How illiterate can you be? Do I look like some ancient relic to you? Using that word to describe me. Your brother told me not to talk to you. Go play somewhere else. I gave him a fake smile. My dear husband is so much better, handsome, cultured, skilled in both arts and martial, and great at making money. Unlike this spoiled brat in front of me. Dressed so flamboyantly and wearing those Chelsea boots. Though one shouldn't judge by appearances, it's truly a bit hard on the eyes. You. He was first angered. Then, a chilling smile emerged on his face. No wonder my brother took a liking to you, you're feisty. I like it. I used to think Vincent was an abnormal lunatic. Now, it seems, he is the most normal of them all. I didn't feel like talking to him, so I ignored him. Yet he continued to chatter incessantly. Look, I'll double the money and love, leave my brother and come with me instead. I frowned in disgust. Is this guy really Vincent's junior? He doesn't seem quite right in the head. Raphael, if you really have nothing better to do, go find a factory and tighten some screws. Working a few shifts will teach you some discipline. Angered by me and about to take action, he was stopped by a hand grabbing him. Looking up, it was none other than Cashin. Just then, Vincent also came out and kicked his junior brother. If you dare lay a finger on her again, don't blame me for disregarding our brotherhood. Then he came over to check if I was okay, took my hand, and prepared to leave. Thank you, Cashin, for taking care of my wife. I owe you one. On the way, I couldn't help but bring up Cashin to Vincent. Vincent, Cashin's company has major issues, both in projects and accounts. He raised an eyebrow, urging me to continue. He wants to mess with you. Be careful. He held my hand, gently rubbing it. Don't worry. There's no one in this world who can take down your husband. Except for you, I have no weakness. At that moment, my heart felt warm. Thinking back on what I had done to him before, I felt deeply guilty. My husband is the best. But I want you to do something for me. I leaned in and whispered something in his ear. He frowned slightly, as if pondering something. All right, leave it to me. When we got home, his stepmother and younger sister were sitting on the sofa in the living room. Vincent ignored them and took my hand, wanting to go upstairs. Stop right there. The man's footsteps halted. Vincent, getting married is such a significant matter, yet you didn't even discuss it with me. Do you have any respect for me, the only elder in the family? Vincent snorted coldly. Do I need to respect you? The only reason you and your daughter are still in this house is out of consideration for my father's final wishes. Remember, I can have you both thrown out at any moment. It would be wise not to play any tricks on my wife, or you know very well what I'm capable of. Wow, the more I look at him, the more I think my husband is absolutely dashing. He gives me such a sense of security. Of course, it's also because he knows all the wrongs this mother-daughter pair did to me in my past life. Not only were they driven out of their home penniless, but his stepmother was also beaten so severely that she became permanently disabled. I can only say, messing with Vincent, they really bit off more than they could chew. Since Vincent has declared it publicly like this, they probably won't dare to make any big moves now. But I still don't want to interact with them to avoid unnecessary drama. After returning to the room, I brought up the idea of moving out with Vincent. Look, we're married now, and we'll have our own little home in the future, with both sons and daughters. I don't want anyone else in the house. Hearing my aspirations, the man's heart was melting. He said tenderly, "All right, tomorrow we'll move to the villa in the western part of the city. There's a flower field there, I think you'll like it." I had heard in my previous life that he originally wanted to propose to me in that flower field. But unexpectedly. I nodded like a drum, full of anticipation. Now, to fulfill my wife's wish of having a son and a daughter, I must trouble you to work overtime. One day, when Vincent went to work, I went to the police station, the place where my brother used to work. "Director, I believe there's something suspicious about my brother's death. I hope you can give our family an explanation. I suspect Cashin is involved in drugs, and his close friend discovered this. So he created chaos and took the opportunity to shoot and kill my brother. I always thought it was the work of drug lords, but I never expected it to be Cashin. He hid it so well." This was what Vincent uncovered in the previous life. However, he didn't have time to tell me himself, it was relayed by one of his subordinates. As for those pieces of evidence, I have been searching for them during this time. Relying on the memories of those proofs, I managed to retrieve each one again. I handed the USB drive over to the police station. "Don't worry, Sylvia. If this matter is true, we will definitely bring justice for you and make sure the culprits are punished by law. Thank you for the information and materials you provided. Please trust us." Before leaving the police station, I saw my brother's photo on the wall of fallen heroes. Tears welled up uncontrollably. "Brother, rest assured, the wicked deserve to go to hell. You're a hero." I was kidnapped again. My eyes were blindfolded. Who is it? This definitely isn't Vincent's enemy this time. "Cashin, is that you?" In this lifetime I've been acting so strangely, he must have noticed something was off with me. The black cloth was lifted, and the blinding light made me squint. "Wrong guess, sister-in-law. It's me, your junior brother. This lunatic again. What do you want to do?" He playfully lifted my chin. "Don't be nervous, I won't do anything. I just want to see how much your senior brother loves you. Indeed, I am Vincent's weak spot. No matter who it is, they always think of using me to deal with him. Should I laugh or cry? Let me go, I promise Vincent won't do anything to you. Otherwise, you know him well enough." He burst into laughter. Why do I lose to him in every way? Even such a beautiful woman, I can't have her. If Vincent finds out his woman has been tainted, do you think he'd lose his mind? I swallowed hard. It would be a lie to say I wasn't scared. After all, I didn't know much about this guy. No idea how far his madness could go. All I know is, he would kill you. Suddenly, another man stepped out. "All right, stop messing with her. We've got more important things. Vincent's car is downstairs." "It's Cashin." I glared at him. "Cashin, do you have to be so ruthless?" Cashin laughed, pulling my hair back sharply. The pain made my whole face scrunch up. "Sylvia, you're the ones who went too far. Today, it's either your end or my death. You've been reborn too, haven't you? Otherwise, you wouldn't be acting like this towards me. What kind of bullshit rebirth is this? Why are all the main characters being reborn? Will history repeat itself? No, I won't let Vincent die." The door was kicked open. "Let her go." Vincent rushed in, his breathing ragged and his forehead drenched in sweat. Well, the protagonist has arrived." The man's eyes were bloodshot, his tone furious. I said, "Let her go." No matter when, as long as I'm in danger, he always rushes in without hesitation. "Sure, go ahead and break one of your own legs, and I'll consider letting this beauty go." Raphael spoke excitedly. Vincent was speechless. "What the hell are you doing hanging out with him? Idiot." Raphael, provoked by the scolding, stomped in place. you're insulting me? Haven't you heard that the enemy of my enemy is my friend? Cashin wrapped an arm around Raphael's shoulder. That's right. Hurry up and do what this kid says, or I can't guarantee what might happen to your woman. As Vincent picked up the stick they had tossed, I shook my head desperately. Vincent, if you dare hurt yourself today, I won't want you anymore. He didn't listen at all and raised the stick. Just as he was about to strike, the police burst in. Vincent also rushed over. After untying me, he held me tightly in his arms. I embraced him just as fiercely. Vincent, I was terrified. I was so afraid you would die. The man repeated the last words he spoke in his previous life. Even if I die by your hands, I have no regrets. I punched him twice. I won't let you die. Are you trying to make me live as a widow, you bastard? Cashin was arrested and sentenced to death. His sins were too numerous, and for what he did to my brother alone, he deserved to die. A sea of flowers, a wedding dress, and a diamond ring. Vincent proposed to me. Sylvia, although I'm domineering and tough, and my personality isn't the best. But I truly, deeply love you and will give everything to make you happy. So, will you marry me? Tears welled up in my eyes as I reached out my hand and nodded frantically. I do. The moment he knelt on one knee before me, the wind through the flower sea suddenly turned gentle, as if even the heavens couldn't bear to disrupt this scene. I was crying like a fool, my tears mixing with pollen and smearing my makeup all over my face. My snot was almost dripping onto the ring he held out to me. Vincent, however, was beaming brighter than sunlight. Those eyes that always carried a hint of hostility now looked as pure as freshly fallen snow. What are you crying for? Between sobs, I scolded him, who said you could be this handsome when we're getting back together. My makeup is ruined. He stood up and lifted me horizontally into his arms. The hem of the wedding dress swept through a field of vivid pink and purple cosmos flowers, like an overwhelming avalanche. Even better if it's ruined, he whispered, bending down to kiss away the tears on my face. From now on, you're only allowed to show your most vulnerable self to me. As the ring slid onto my ring finger, I heard the sound of my own heartbeat, so loud it startled me. So this time, we finally got the order right. It wasn't him forcing control and then groveling to atone, instead. It wasn't that I first hated him to the bone, only to regret it with heart-wrenching pain. Rather, I loved him first, then married him, and was subsequently doted on by him to the core. That night, he slammed the marriage certificate in front of me, his tone as cocky as if he were flaunting a trophy. Sylvia, you're my wife now. There's no running away. I teased him on purpose, what if one day you don't want me anymore? He froze for half a second, then suddenly pinned me down onto the couch, his voice so hoarse it was almost unrecognizable. Then kill me again. I wrapped my arms around his neck and gently nipped at his Adam's apple with my teeth. Dream on. In this lifetime, it's my turn to protect you. Later, we had 2 children. The elder one was just like him, even at a young age. He learned to tuck a toy gun behind his waist and said in a childlike voice to his younger brother, "If anyone dares to bully my brother, I'll have Dad take care of them." The younger one took after me, a soft and cuddly little bundle who adored clinging to Vincent, coaxing him to carry him into the yard to gaze at the stars. At this moment, he would lift their little daughter overhead, his voice so gentle it could melt. See that? The brightest one is Daddy's destined star. The little girl giggled, what about Mommy? He tilted his head to look at me, his gaze so tender it could drown a person. Your mommy is the thief who stole Daddy's entire heart. I stood by the doorway, arms crossed, smiling as the sunset stretched the shadows of our family of 4 long and far. The wind swept through the sea of flowers, carrying his low whisper, Sylvia, thank you for being willing to love me again. I tiptoed to kiss his chin, my voice as light as if afraid to break this dream. What's there to thank? The heavens saw how tragically we died in our past life and granted us a happy ending. This life is long, long enough to let all regrets slowly sweeten into honey. This lifetime. From beginning to end. I won.